I wanted out, literally wanted out. Tried taking medicines, all kinds of stuff, because I never wanted to disappoint my parents. Going through that whole turmoil by myself, I told my best friend, she knew, so I could still lean on her. Like, we're young, and neither one of us really understanding what's going on and what's next. Going through that and eventually having to tell my parents. And so it wasn't so much more of shame. It was more so, now I gotta make sure I never disappoint them again. And I got the baby showers. I got the can I rub your stomach.
So right now I'm in a place where my friends are so far away and doing their own thing. They're obviously have babies and they're working and all the things, and they're far. And and I miss being able to see them, but I am in my comfort zone also, and I don't have them all around, but it's okay because I'm an introvert. It's the weirdest thing. So I really enjoy our podcast episodes. I really do, because there's something about, even if you're an introvert, you want to connect with people. Hello, you're still human.
Yep.
So
no, totally.
With that being said, you guys, last time we were talking about, there was an episode, and I don't know how many episodes are going to happen before they see this one, but we tossed a coin. We wanted to select, what we were going to talk about. Jill won, and I'm glad she won because we really had fun in this episode, right?
We found the secrets of Jill, the real Jill.
So embarrassing, guys. I loved every second of it, but listening it back, I was like, okay, it's out there. Like, to not just to your friends, like to like your professional, like everyone knows. It's okay. It's fine. It's good.
You guys, I was editing that episode and was dying the entire time. Like I was
So
crying.
funny.
There was tears coming down my face. And my husband's like, "What are you listening to?" I'm listening to one of the episodes.
Talking.
Yeah.
I'm listening to myself talk.
Crazy. So he's like, "It looks like you're having fun," and I so am. But I want to go into one of the other topics that we were supposed to do. And so today we're going to have to go into we're going to do the other one as well. But we'll go into before we had children. I think that's a good one only because I reminisce. I love my baby, don't get me wrong. But I think the reality is that your life changes in such a dramatic way that postpartum kicks in. Sometimes it is because we are grieving when we were not with child. What do you guys think? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think so. I think so.
I do have to say something about that. I always
Go
have
ahead.
something to say. But, I think that when you're pregnant, you get so much attention from everybody. You're working, you're still, you know what I mean? Some people want to touch your belly and, they want to somehow participate. Oh, we lost Aisha. Participate in, all of that. But the truth of the matter is, once you have the baby, all of that goes away because all the attention goes to the baby and it's not you anymore.
does.
Yep.
And it's okay, but it's a different feeling. I don't think that it's good or bad, but it shifts the attention.
Totally.
I
Totally agree with you.
Yeah. Jill, did you ever go through postpartum? Depression? Anxiety?
Not depression, but I definitely had anxiety after having my daughter. I think it's weird. I'm pregnant now, but my only time being pregnant was at a really bizarre time in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Like I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant like peak pandemic, March 2020, like New York shut down a few days later. My whole experience being pregnant was bizarre. It was like I was alone. No one saw me pregnant. In fact, one of the things I've been feeling this time around is it's going so fast because I've been so busy. I also have my other daughter whose life is like happening. And then like I had my anatomy scan this week and I was like, oh, we're at that point? Like, but that means I'm like almost halfway. I feel like it's just whizzing by. It's crazy. So anyway, I say this because I feel like when I had my daughter, in addition to all the anxiety you'd experience as a new parent, no matter what, and the hormones and everything going on that I was not fully prepared for, I think there was also this whole added element because there was this additional pressure of no one knew what was going on. We had no vaccines. A lot of people were dying. And there was not a lot of understanding about what this meant when you were pregnant, certainly, but what it meant when you had an infant. So it was just like there was all this additional anxiety I experienced because it was like, can we talk to anyone? Can we have any help? Can we go anywhere? Can we go outside? There was all this additional stuff that I think contributed to the anxiety that I already was having.
Yeah.
And it also meant like you really couldn't lean in to any village even if you had one.
Yeah.
Like we had to make a lot of difficult decisions about seeing people, what we were going to need of people if we did see them, what that meant for them, what they were doing outside of seeing, like these things. I never thought I'd have to think about that in a million years. I thought my friends, my sister, my parents and Matt's parents, like everyone would just be there. It just became so much more complicated, which contributed to a lot of that anxiety.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely environment, right? Like all the stuff that's happening before. And
yes.
That's a very good point, Jill. I actually have to say that, you know, you and I have the youngest children of the panel. I think that when it comes to postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, you might have a predisposition to have more anxiety. In my case, more anxiety than normal because I respond a lot to hormones and things of that nature with, and internally I've learned with seeing my mother, my grandparents, my cousins even, to understand that a lot of it is genetic, but also environment is so important. And so this episode, I think, will be a little more of like, what did we miss? What did we grieve? If there was anything to grieve, you know, that single person without children. I'm going to start with Taisha because I know hers is different than everyone else's, and even my own. I was a teen mom, but I was married and I kind of did things in a way that traditionally all you had to do was grow up a little bit more. It would have been seen as a more normal way of forming a family. But in Taisha's case, I'll let her take over the mic right now. Taisha, like, you are so different and in so many ways. Tell us your story.
Yes. For starters, I was pregnant at 13 and I had my baby at 14. Just thinking back on what that was like, for me, it was a lot of hiding, wearing bigger clothes, trying to figure out how I'm going to tell my parents, what's going to be said.
Wait, so you had a lot of shame. I don't want to interrupt you too much, but I have questions. Like, so there was shame involved in that too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it came from because I was an honor student. I was a church girl. I didn't get in trouble. Like I said, my punishment was to go outside. Like, I was a nerd. So for this to have happened under the circumstances it happened under, it was a very big shock to all of us. I wanted out, literally wanted out. Tried taking medicines, all kinds of stuff, because I never wanted to disappoint my parents. Going through that whole turmoil by myself, I told my best friend, she knew, so I could still lean on her. Like, we're young, and neither one of us really understanding what's going on and what's next. Going through that and eventually having to tell my parents. So it wasn't so much more of shame, it was more so now I gotta make sure I never disappoint them again. And I got the baby showers, I got the can I rub your stomach. I lived about 45 minutes from the city, from restaurants. So my cousin, I called her and I was like, hey, can you bring me a milkshake? And when she got off work, she bought me a milkshake. So
a 45-minute milkshake, Taisha.
Yes. Yes, girl.
I'm also like, that sounds good. That sounds good right now.
Right. So still able to experience that part. But in addition to that, it was still the side eyes and the sidebar conversations. Dang, she's young, never really having a boyfriend because nobody mom wanted their son to be stepdad in middle school and high school. So going through that whole little, like, well, it is what it is. But my mom still made sure I participated.
And you're also like in like a small town,
yes, girl.
right?
Yes.
So that's a whole other thing. Everyone is in like everyone's stuff, you know?
Yeah, girl, it was so many rumors.
Wow. Hadn't thought of that.
It was so many rumors because nobody knew. Nobody knew who my child father was, or they didn't know details. They didn't know nothing. According to them, Nikki was just this fast little girl who ended up with a baby and don't know who her baby daddy is. And I allowed that narrative to play out. Like, if that's what y'all want to believe, y'all go for it. I don't have to correct anything. In my story, when I publicly talked about it, I let them know. I heard y'all, I seen y'all. Even I had an aunt who made up lies because she didn't know what was going on. It was crazy. It was a lot of shame, guilt, disappointment. All of that pain kind of turned to purpose because I began to love myself. My parents still love me, knowing that God still loved me. My church family embraced me. And I didn't lose my best friend. Like, she was my best friend then, and she's still my best friend to this day. So I think I gained more than I lost. And it pretty much built me to be the person that I am, with a whole bunch of resilience.
What I was going to say is that, Taisha, you are one of very few people that have gone through what you went through, that actually is doing the things that you are doing today. You took responsibility. You took that into your hands. Your family, your village helped you. And here you are. You just graduated. You got to tell us about that too.
You're a doctor.
Yeah. You know, so those are the things, like, look at where you were and look at where you are now. And honestly, I feel like those hard times shape you. They make you who you are. And you are who you are because of what you went through. And you took that and you changed it around from I'm 13 and I'm pregnant to, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility and do something with my life. And a lot of the girls out there, they just don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Very true.
I see it a lot.
Also, though, when I think about myself at that age, like, I'm like, first of all, there was a lot of like unfortunate things happening. Like, there's like very awkward bracelet, like all that. But that aside, but just like to paint a picture a little bit. But like, I was a kid, like a baby, a kid.
Right.
I think I had first gotten my period around that time. I just can't, it's unbelievable to me to conceive of not only where you've been able to go, but how you even process something like that is so mature, so grown up in that moment. Because when I think about the things that I was thinking about then, and I just, I'm like, wow, it was like, who do I like better, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC? Like, I'm like fighting with my best friend about it,
Right.
It's amazing that you were able to do that at that point.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a shift.
I wanted to also, being a Latina and very close to the African American culture in many ways, because we do share a lot, I've noticed, is also in our cultures, it seems to also, teen pregnancy is a little more common than other cultures. I don't know. I can't speak upon any other cultures, I'll be honest. If I dare say, the white Caucasian community has the same, I don't know. But for Latinos, it was seen as completely normal. In fact, it was acceptable to get married at 15.
My mom was married at 17. My grandma was
go.
married at 16. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
And so I was just writing my chapter for Taisha's book. And it's funny that you touch on this, Jill. I got married much later in life, and I think that I already shared that in here. But my mom got to a point that she didn't think that I was going to get married at all. So she gifts all the daughters a pearl necklace, and she's like, I don't think that you're going to experience this. And she just handed me the pearl necklace when I was like in my 30s, because she's like, I don't know if you're going to get married. And I was like, okay, all right, well, I guess I enjoyed the pearl necklace that I'm going to have. But I mean,
but it's almost like, grieving, right? Like it was like a
that for her.
Yeah, for her.
I was, she had 2 older daughters and an older son, and they all had kids. They got married early. They did the whole thing. And I moved to the United States on my own. I'm getting to 30. My mom is wondering what the hell is going on. And, the Mormon community, this doesn't happen. Like, I didn't even have a place in the Mormon church because I was 30 and I wasn't married. So, it's the opposite of that, right? It's very different, the stories. I think for all 4 of us here, we all have a different story. And I'm going to bring up Taisha's book one more time. That's what I think her book is so awesome, is that she's bringing all of that together. When we look at the panel and who we have here, this was Jackie's vision of the 4 of us, and kind of pulling from different places.
Speaking on that, I think the mom panel is more of these experiences, because I do not believe in a cookie cutter way of living. A lot of the time, mothers, we have mom shame because we think there is a proper or correct way, either because your grandma said it, because in my case, that was a case, right? Like your grandma said that this is the way to do things, and that is that. Or you have people whispering in your ear. Maybe they're teaching you or trying to tell you something that they were taught. So a lot of the time we carry all of this shame. And for me, bringing all these perspectives that you're mentioning about the book is such a wonderful way to introduce parenthood to new moms, and to maybe start something where it's less shame and more of what can I do when the problem surfaces, and take care of it without all of that shame. So we kind of went a little bit sideways on the topic, and Miss Taisha left again. She's got technical difficulties today. But I think that speaking on the different things, I will want to ask her when she comes back. I know the African American community is very much about teen pregnancies. For whatever reason, we have the same stuff going on as the Latino community. Jill, I don't know. Yeah. You grew up with your white friends, mixed. How did you grow up?
One thing I will speak to is I think there's race and culture, and this plays a role, but I also think there's it also depends on demographic and where you are, right? The town that I grew up in, which was not incredibly diverse. That's just a fact. It just wasn't. But the suburb that I grew up in, I think there was a 99% rate of people going on to college, to 4-year college. Just to paint a picture, this was it wasn't until later in life I was a little bit naive that I realized, wow, people don't always do that. Some people go right into working after high school. There weren't other options. That was everyone I knew. No, I can't think of one person I knew that got pregnant young growing up. And I know personally, I had the fear of God in me about really doing anything.
Yeah,
that's how it was for me.
Anything, right?
So,
I know Michelle talked about it.
Oh my gosh,
so it was just I didn't drink. I didn't experiment with anything until I got to college. Maybe the end of senior year was the first time I ever drank. But I mention all this because I had a lot of feelings in college about, am I bad? That this feels natural to me. What does this say about me as a person? I had a very clear view up until that point of who I thought I was. And then it was kind of no, maybe you can be a great student and a really good and kind person, and also like letting loose and drinking and having, but For me, those things didn't live on the same plane for a very long time, if that makes sense. I feel like, Michelle, you had your own version of that too.
And it was in Brazil, of all places.
Yeah. Everything I've ever associated with that is like, you go there to have a good time. Yeah. It's so funny. As you were saying before, Jackie, I was thinking to myself, another thing that I love about these conversations and everyone sort of sharing, you know, where they come from, like who they were leading up to being parents, is because we have this motherhood in common. Yeah. And then so much of what informs who we become as adults, who we become as parents, are the experiences that we've had that led up to this point and sort of color who we turn into. I think that like a lot of what comes up for me when I work with clients, and certainly what comes up for me in my own parenting, is a lot of things that trigger us or that are difficult or have to do with experiences that we had in our own childhood or in our own past, right? So I think it's important to have these conversations about who we were before, because it informs a lot of that. But yeah, no, where I grew up, I'm sure that doesn't mean it didn't happen, but that shows the degree to how much it was covered up, if it did. Right. I can't think of one person. And I think that was not a road that was presented to me as a potential option. I mean, it sounds like, it sounds ridiculous, but it just wasn't. You know, it just wasn't. And I think that was something for me as I got older, as I got to college. I went to college in a city. I went to school in Washington, D.C. Then I went to, you know, I moved to New York City. And I think that like it really was the exposure to all different types of people from all different walks of life. It was very eye-opening for me that like, and it was like, wow, there are a lot of ways to do this thing, right? There are a lot of ways to live, and there isn't a right or a wrong. There's just different. It really opened my mind a lot. And one of the things that we focus on a lot as parents with my daughter is that she see difference from us. Part of that comes in living in a diverse place, but also having her interact with people from all different backgrounds and talking about different experiences, reading books from a young age with characters who have different experiences. That was just something I didn't really feel I had a lot of until much later than I would have liked.
Interesting.
You know?
Well, we're going through it with my kids. We live in Huntington Beach. There is some diversity, but it's not like how like my school was. It was pretty diverse when I grew up, but here at her school we have the galas that we put together, dressing up, things like that in Huntington Beach. And so, but we really do try to bring more into their world. We go to the theater and learn about whatever it is. We try to bring culture to their lives, including Drake, who might not even really understand what we're doing here, but the love is the same. These are people. The other day, it was interesting because Drake said to me, "Why does so-and-so have black skin?" And it was very, it's so naive,
but honest, and raw.
Very honest. And so it was a moment for me to be like, doesn't matter. We're all the same. And that was something that I look back and I don't think that I had that from my parents either. But, you know, it was like, okay, this is, and then that was that. Then we changed the subject.
I love your response, Michelle. It was like, it doesn't matter. We are all the same. It's almost like we can highlight the differences and bring forth the differences, or we can also say, actually, yes, we're different in many ways, but who isn't?
It doesn't matter. Those are the words that I came up with at the time, because of course it was out of nowhere. They always ask things when
you're never prepared to give the answer in the moment. It always
comes at the weirdest times, and
you're like, Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Guess we're doing that now.
Yes. And here's something, and this is an interesting thing. We're talking about diversity, right? Last week, we received an email from Drake's teacher. It was the very first time that I have ever, like, even questioned, but it was good because she was proactive about it. But she sent an email and she's like, throughout the year, we celebrated every month. We celebrated Black History Month. We celebrated Hispanics. We celebrated everything. And this month is about pride. And she's like, if you would rather not have your child in the room when we are talking about this, I will find something else for them to do during that time. And I was, first of all, like, to me, I really do take life in a way that it doesn't matter. Maybe that's why I never felt discrimination being Brazilian, because it never mattered to me. So that was one part of it. To me, it's like, we're equals. It's fine. You choose to be who you choose to be. But it was an interesting conversation that I had with my husband. I'm like, do you mind? And he's like, no, I don't mind at all. And it was very, actually, I was taken aback by that, because he comes from the white Mormon family. He's a hunter. He's all these things. But I was very surprised, and he's like, no, I don't care. I don't mind at all. Then we, don't respond to the email and just let it be. So
That's so interesting to me. Taisha, we lost you, but we're interested to talk about your community and how teen pregnancy is very common in Latino community. But I want to ask you, is it common? Am I assuming wrong when I say we have that in common?
Yes and no, because it happens, but it's not something that's accepted or something that's
okay.
Like, good job, girl. Like, oh, I knew that was gonna happen. It's like, it's more like,
was it good for you?
Right.
Was it good for you?
It's like, what were you thinking? So it was more so like, oh, she being fast, or you couldn't wait, and all this other extra stuff. And it's just like, Jesus,
okay.
Yeah. Ain't one of them pat on the back, girl. You got yourself something. It's like, now here you go. And you got to break generational cycles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't know. I thought it was a little more accepted, like the Latino culture.
No, it ain't accepted.
It just happens in any situation, I think. But like Latinos, we get married ASAP. And that's just the way it is. Yeah. You really don't have an option. That white boy, if he was a white boy, doesn't have an option, right? He meets dad and he's like, all right, cool. Now you got to put your pants on and you got to marry my daughter. And white boy's like, what is happening? But if he's a Latino, he knows what's up. He's like, okay, we're going to get married. Or any other culture outside of that. Taisha, it's funny.
Not over here, baby.
And then 2 years later, they're divorced.
Yeah, Michelle. And I think that a lot of it comes from respect, right? Respect of the father, the family. You were man enough to touch my daughter and do grown-up things. So you will be man enough to be the man of the house now and take care of my daughter. We're kind of strict like that just overall. Anyway, I hope you don't have any more technical difficulties.
I'm in the same spot every session, and they want to act a fool today. Like, I just don't get it. The episode's so good, it's just clowning. But I digress. I'm having a you problem, Jackie.
It's all good, girl.
I was going to say, because we were going to talk about kids.
Yeah, pre-kids or post-kids, yeah.
Yeah, and Taisha, like, she was a kid herself, right? Mm-hmm. So pre-kid, Taisha was a kid. She probably continued to be a kid.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about when you were, regardless of children, where you were as a woman, as a person without children, just you, your identity, and how that changed when you became a parent. So, Taisha, for you, you grew up with your baby and alongside her, and then became a woman with her. So, I guess, what were the things that you discovered and started to really be in the comfort zone after she probably left the nest? Was it before she left the nest that you started to date your husband, then married and discover your sexuality? What made you, you know?
So that's a really good question. And the reason I said it's a good question because I still have moments where I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, am I being true to me, basically? Because we are constantly evolving as individuals. What I like today, I may not like tomorrow. One of the things that I've learned is I absolutely love reading. I would read a book in a day and a half. That was my thing. As time progressed, my reading turned more to educational things, and it was more so like I'm reading to learn, not reading for enjoyment. At this stage in my life now, being an empty nester, I'm getting back to reading for enjoyment and not necessarily reading to learn something. Growing up alongside my child, it was trying to find the balance of being mama and still being a kid. And her actually seeing both of us evolving, it's actually been pretty cool. Like, now we'll sit back and talk about it, and I tell her I did my absolute best to make sure that you're not sitting on the therapist couch healing from things I've put you through. And she was like, well, Mama, I'm not sitting on the couch having to heal through things you've put me through. I know I wasn't the best, according to best or perfect, but I was definitely the best parent for her. Just utilizing what I learned as a child, watching my mom and my aunts and implementing that and being a social worker. So now I have the education and I also have the hands-on and the things I learned from there. And I was able to create my own wave with being a mom. And the whole dating piece coming into that, my daughter was, I think she was 10 when my husband and I met. It was her entering into puberty, a man entering into our home with structure and rules. You would have thought a tornado was coming through there. But we were able to find our balance. And I talk about it a lot, like with blending families, it's not something you could put in the microwave. It's not what you see on TV, because that's what I thought. We was going to be this happy family. He has a son, I have a daughter. Everything is going to be perfect. It was quite opposite for a long time. And it's just recently, within the last few years, we've gotten our foot where they have their own relationship, and it is absolutely beautiful. And the relationship I had with my bonus son was great when we had that opportunity, but the opportunity wasn't often, given circumstances that caused him not to be in our lives because of his own mom and all of that other extra jazz that went along with that.
Of course.
Yeah, so navigating just being a woman is like, I'm learning now what it's like to be in this soft girl era, because my husband has always been the guy. He's always been the protector, and I'm not having to do so much. But now it's just beginning to learn me all over again. The new me, I guess you could say.
Miss Michelle has to go soon, actually. So just
I
in case
do,
she disappears.
We have a fun day of family day. So like it's Rio, she's singing in her spring sing. So we get to go to her school and watch them sing. And then from there we're going to Drake's graduation, because he just finished 5th grade. So he's going to 6th grade, even though he's not switching schools and not really going to a middle school. They still do the transition from 5th to 6th. So we're going to do that. It's all in the morning, so you have to take the day off.
At least you didn't work last night, right?
Oh, that's true. I was talking to Jackie, and I get a call in the afternoon. We have a case going at 7. Oh, no, it's at 8:30 at night. So I'm leaving to go to the surgery, and they go, oh, the case canceled. And I was like, oh, thank the Lord. And
that
so I
would have been brutal, because you woke up so early.
Yeah.
Right.
I did, yeah. So anyway, it's the life of a mom. After I had children, I came into being a mom with a corporate job. I was a salesperson. I was on the top of the world because I had, earned all these awards in sales. When I came into it, that stayed. I had to grow up and be a mom of a special needs child, be a mom of an 8-year-old who's going on 16. I had to continue bringing on that power, that sales, that corporate thing, and trying to balance all of it. So I got into motherhood later in life. I was 38, Had I not built a life for me before then, I don't know how you do it after. It's so hard. But I'm grateful for the things that I did. I'm grateful that I went to school, I graduated, and I got a master's degree in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. And then I'm grateful that I found myself back to Utah, and then found myself to Huntington Beach. This is where I've been for the past 18 years. This is where my family began. This is where my life started. Has it been smooth sailing? Oh, hell no. Here I am. I woke up at 5:30 so I could curl my hair, put makeup on because I knew that I had to curl.
You look so good.
Right.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
You.
These are the things I had to do. But you learn to adjust to those things. Can I do more with my kids? Yes. And I am feeling that the older that I get. And with Rio turning 8, she looks at me and goes, You don't need to go to work. Please don't do it. Do it for me. Why are you telling me that this is more important than... And I'm like, oh my gosh, break my freaking heart, slash it into pieces, But I am actually going to go because I got to go to my daughter's spring sing. Thank you,
Have a wonderful time, my dear.
Get lots of
Missed you too.
pictures.
I will. All right, bye.
Oh,
So
so
much
much
her-
fun stuff.
So much fun stuff. I want to continue talking about this. Maybe we'll do another part going through the different dynamics because I am so curious how someone like Michelle is so different than someone like Jill, someone like me, Taisha. Obviously, Taisha, because my goodness. In many ways, Taisha, I don't see your situation as something that is uncommon. What I see that is uncommon is how you made it your legacy as part of your growth, as part of something positive. And that's probably why I'm stuck on you a little bit today, because I feel like when it comes to the things that we go through as parents and the anxiety and the depression postpartum, there is actually a place where it can be so much worse. And I mean that with all respect, because I feel like it's, I wasn't there, but I know that you were a child and that must have been so hard.
It was definitely an interesting journey. Postpartum, I didn't know nothing about postpartum until I became a social worker and the term was thrown around. Because I had that support. You still got to go to school. You still going to clean up. You still going to do chores. You still going to do everything you did prior to. The only difference is you have an addition, because now you have to make sure this baby is taken care of. I couldn't support her financially, but I had to do everything else. Like, my mom made sure that I knew that that was my child and not my sister. I had to wake up in the middle of the nights and all of those things, and being taught how to maneuver as a mom, make sure the bag is packed properly. So now when I see moms, they're like, could you go in the bag and get something? I'd be like, I go straight grandma. It's like, this baby ain't got no but 2 diapers. What a other outfit at? So it's like those things that I cherish so much, because I still had a little balance. I was still on the dance team at school, then National Honor Society, Beta Club, Poetry Club. My mom still allowed me to do those extracurricular activities because my baby was in daycare. Daycare got out at 6. Extracurricular activities were over at 6. So we would all just come home together, eat dinner, start over the next day. It was the same thing. And
I see it like just a wonderful thing. I don't see it at all with the shame that you had, and maybe it was so strong and awful back then, but I see your story, and of course you're invited to all kinds of podcasts to talk about it. You're in a reality show too, Taisha. Can you tell us about that right now?
So today actually it premieres on Roku TV. It's The Real Entrepreneur. So I am honored to be the guest judge for Jill. This is your kind of TV, girl. People are getting eliminated and all of this great stuff.
It's right up my alley.
I don't think it's too trashy.
These people sound classy, classy entrepreneurs.
But every entrepreneur got a little bit of trash and a little bit of trash. So when I see it today, I'm gonna shoot you a text, Jill, and be like, it ain't trashy.
Like, is anyone fighting?
I'll let you know, girl. I promise you, I'll let you know. But my story has taken me on a journey of healing, not only myself but other people. And the shame and the guilt, it was in the beginning. But once I received that mama got you, I was good. It was like, I don't care what nobody else say. My mama got me. So I was okay. Mama said I'm good, I'm good. That's all that mattered to me at that point. Until I got older and look back on some things and be like, dog, like dang, mama, I'm sorry. Dang, daddy, I'm sorry. Tanaya, I'm sorry, baby. I brought you in the world. Well, I'm trying to figure it out. But other than that, it has been golden. My girl is my girl. That's my right hand. That's my heart. That's my bestie. I'm pretty honored to even have been chosen to be her mother.
I got you. I got everything you had to say.
I feel like we need a part 2 on this subject.
We do.
Because I'm very curious, Jackie, about your story before. And I also, when Michelle was saying that, I started to think about myself. I know for me, a lot of those shifts came in the form of my work. What I was doing before didn't serve me in the same way once I became a mom. And that really shifted my perspective. I feel like there's a lot more to unpack.
Yeah,
right?
We do.
Definitely.
I feel like we need a part 2.
I think, Jill, you're touching on a subject I wanted to talk about, which is the surprises, right? Before and after, and you're like, oh, I expected this, but actually it's like this. That is very unique to every individual, but I think there's a lot of common ground. We have to make it a part 2. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today.
Jackie and Taisha, there's just one thing, whether it's in the episode or not, I feel like I have to get it out of my system.
Tell us.
It doesn't have to do with the subject, and it's nothing about anything Michelle did, but when she was telling that story about the school sending that email about Pride Month, it's like eating at me, so I just got to get it out because it's about being honest. I'm like, the fact that a school feels they have to send an email about that month when we can celebrate everything else we just acknowledge, we celebrate. But for this one, like, is everyone okay?
Right.
Is getting me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. I feel amazing to celebrate and teach children about all different walks of life. I mean, it's such an important thing that should be happening. But I feel like the fact that Pride Month then is put in a different category of like, we want to do that, but like, is that okay?
It didn't sit with of the way me either.
I just I'm sorry. I just like had to put it out. It's nothing about her or the school. I think it's just the fact that that's like a conversation that I think many teachers, schools are like, oh, we should like make sure first if they're not comfortable, they shouldn't be there. No, this should be something that we're acknowledging the way we're going to acknowledge everything else.
It is a testament to where we are as a nation still.
100%.
Unfortunately, we're still not very accepting of everyone. That can be
I know it.
Race. It can be sexual preference. Just as an individual, I think that's where we are as a nation, and things have to change. I don't care how, but they should change a lot. And it can't be disguised as loving anymore, because unfortunately that's what we say. We're like, we want to disguise it as something we're trying to do for God or whatever. And I'm a Bible thumper, ex-Bible thumper, current Bible thumper, and I cannot stress enough that the Christ that I followed in love, the very people that were in sin, the very people that were in prisons, the very people that murdered, they cheated, they lied, they stole. He died with two criminals beside him. I can go on and on about this. And he led them in paradise, which is the most beautiful thing. Is that all he did? You know, I know you're Jewish, Jill.
No, but that regardless, I feel like it speaks to the same thing, which ultimately is love and acceptance, right? So whatever your walk, that's what I feel like it's about. If this is out there, there will be people that feel very offended by that stance. And you're right, that's just the nature of how polarized we are right now. Whether it's about your race, whether it's about your religion, whether it's about your sexual orientation, how you identify, the fact that it's so offensive.
Right. Why does it even matter?
For other people to just exist. Yeah, it gets me. And I feel like this tiptoeing around it of like, can we do it for this thing? Only if you're okay with it is sort of contributing to it for the next generation, as opposed to, hey, there are so many amazing, beautiful people that make up this world. We're going to learn about all of them. Someone will identify with something as we learn all of these stories, right? That's the beauty of doing this for children, helping them to not only understand the other people in their lives, but understand themselves. I just felt like I had to say it to you guys.
My whole thing is the age of the kids and things of that nature. Why are we discussing sexuality with kids anyways? Just allow them to be, because they're kids. If you feel it's going to be offensive, then maybe you should reconsider even doing it anyways. Why is it an issue? Like, who you sleep with, what you identify as, girl, boy, like whatever. That's your business. Who cares? Why are we making an issue?
There's also this belief, right? I'm going to speak on that belief because that's really what was going on too. A lot of states are very different, and there is this recurring belief that because one state does something a certain way, the other state's going to do it the same way. We have to remember that every state has their own way that they deal with these topics, right? You're not going to teach something in Alabama that you would teach in California because they're different states and there's different walks of more prominently in California that there aren't so much in Alabama. So no, you're not going to be familiar with, I'm no expert, but I think there is an error or a fallacy, however you want to call it, a narrative that all the states are teaching children about changing their gender and forcing kids to be different, and I just can't stand by that because I don't believe that's the case. I also think that it's demonizing a lot of what actually is going on in schools, which is acceptance. A lot of it is teaching acceptance, and then we want to demonize and say, no, we're pushing our children to do this, that, and the other. We need to be careful with those beliefs because are we in Texas to know what Texas is teaching? Right. Texans can say that, but California can't speak for Texas. Missouri can't speak for California. It's this blanket of beliefs that we have to kind of demonize a certain demographic, and it's wrong. If it is something that you're not okay with as a parent, you have your child. You can teach your child the way you want to teach your child. But yes, Jill, I mean, going back to that, that is such a topic, and we do need to do better. I don't know if it will happen, right? Hoping that in future generations, like Generation Z is really coming out with making a stance, doing the right thing for their generation, and I hope they continue. I am very much rooting Gen Z and Alpha to change the narrative, to change the way things are done. So we lost Taisha again, and that is going to wrap up.
Yeah, I know where you sit with a lot of that stuff. I think that's the point, is the acceptance, that it's more about, hey, there are a lot of different people with a lot of different experiences who walk through life differently, and let's learn about what that is in order to better understand who we are and understand each other. That's what I ultimately feel like this is about for kids. Yeah. So that being put in a different box than doing that anywhere else is the part that's getting me.
Trust me, I know.
It's rough times out there.
It is. I appreciate you bringing it up, Jill. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.